So the important points to know page is a great page to reference as you're preparing to apply to program here at SUNY Erie OTA. We admit students every fall. We admit 24 students every fall. Application deadline is February 15th. That means that everything must be in by February 15th. For example, right now in time, as I record this video PowerPoint presentation, the next time we will admit is fall of 2019. So the application deadline for fall 2019 is February 15th, 2019. Important bits of information to highlight from this page. I'm going to head on down to admission criteria. Admission criteria, if you're a high school student, you need to have an 80% minimum grade point average within 5 years of prospective admission. If you are a college student, you need to have a 2.8 overall GPA for undergraduate college students. We look at your undergraduate records within 5 years of prospective admission. If a student attended college over 5 years ago last, then their overall undergraduate college GPA will be considered for prospective admission with respect to the 2.8 minimum GPA. If a high school student only has high school GPA information and it is older than 5 years, they will need to establish an undergraduate college GPA with at least some of the OTA general education coursework. Placement testing is required. Students need to have taken their placement test prior to February 15th for the admit period. If a student has attended a college in the past and they've taken college level English and math courses, they may be eligible to be waived from placement testing. In this situation, they will need to communicate with admissions and the placement testing office to secure that decision. Additionally, what I'd like to tell you about here as well is the RISE program. If a student is apprehensive about how they will placement test, SUNY Erie Community College has something called the RISE program, and it basically brushes you up on your English and math skill set prior to placement testing. Or if you've already placement tested and you are unhappy with your performance, you can just search RISE in the ECC website and it should take you to the appropriate page within the website. A complete application packet includes 1. An online or in-person application indicating OTA as your program of choice for the specific fall admission that you wish to come in for, and you must meet all of the admissions department requirements. Things like submitting your transcripts, basically anything that admissions requires of you. Until you submit that, your application will be marked incomplete. It is up to you to communicate with admissions to make sure that you meet all of their requirements and you have a complete application by February 15th. The interesting thing is, when you are first coming to SUNY Erie Community College, you need to fill out an application. If at that time you know that you want OTA, you can complete that part of the application indicating that as your program of choice, and you can begin taking general education courses without being admitted into OTA program. However, As soon as you are ready to apply to our competitive program, you need to complete another application, again indicating OTA as your program of choice, but now indicating the specific fall that you are applying for prospective OTA admissions, not just general ECC college admissions. In short, you need to fill out an application here at ECC anytime you want to come to the college, anytime you wish to change your major. It helps us track you as being interested in our program, and anytime you're ready to apply to a competitive program. And it's very important that you indicate the specific fall that you're trying to come in for when you're wanting to apply to a competitive program. The complete application packet also includes submission of an entrance essay. And we have a rubric that will assess the quality of your entrance essay. And our rubric is based on these 4 bullet points in terms of how well you address these bullet points, as well as clarity of written language. Do I understand what you're trying to communicate? And proper grammar. The very first thing that I do after admissions pre-screens applicants to ensure that they have met the minimum GPA and that they have a complete application packet, the very first thing that I do once they forward me those complete people who meet the minimum qualifications as program director of the OTA program here, I read your entrance essays and I go through them with my red pen just like I'm grading an assignment. I fill out the rubric just like I'm grading an assignment. You must meet 2.8 out of 4 points from the 4-point rubric for your entrance essay for me to look at you further. You will write all the way through program. You will write to communicate once you are an OT practitioner through daily documentation. It is essential that you have some basic quality English writing skills. So again, you must meet the minimum criteria of a 2.8 out of 4 points on the rubric that will assess your entrance essay for me to look at you further as a viable candidate for the SUNY Erie Community College Occupational Therapy Assistant Program. If you have submitted a quality entrance essay, we will then look at your transcripts and look at classes that we are interested in. If you're a high school student, we'll look at English, we'll look at geometry, we'll look at biology, we'll look at physics. If you had anatomy and physiology, psychology, or sociology, we will look at those as well. If you're a college student, the best way to understand what we'll look at is to look at the general education coursework that we require for our program. And there is a rubric that we utilize when looking at your academic transcripts. We also require, for a complete application packet, we require you to complete 15 hours of shadowing and observing occupational therapy services by an OT practitioner, whether that be an occupational therapist or an occupational therapy assistant. The next 2 slides will facilitate your completion of your 15 minimum required shadowing hours. Anything that you are submitting for your application must be sent to the Office of Admissions. See the bottom of this page for where you need to send your entrance essay, as well as your proof of shadowing hours. Proof of shadowing hours must be on facility letterhead in a sealed facility envelope, indicating the number of hours that you have spent in that facility observing occupational therapy services. You may split up your hours between practice areas, and I will address that in just a moment. So this is a letter that you can read to yourself first, and also that you can bring into whatever facility accepts you for your shadowing hours. It's a letter I would recommend reading before you begin cold calling places to try and secure your shadowing hours. From this letter, you will get a sense of the variety of settings that you may reach out to. You may reach out to a school system. Largely, OTs spend most of their time in the elementary buildings. So if you call an elementary school, your first question would be, may I please speak with someone in the OT department? You may also reach out to a hospital, to a rehab facility, to a nursing home, to a mental health facility, but at any of these places, your first question will be, may I please speak with someone in the OT department? You may split up your shadowing hours into 2 different practice areas if you want to see OT services in the schools with children and OT services in a nursing home with older adults. That might be very advisable. This page is largely for your tracking purposes. Since proof gets sent into our admissions office, it makes sense that you have your own documentation of your hours. This will ensure that you are able to meet the minimum 15 hours. Especially if you're splitting your time between 2 different practice areas, it's helpful to track your hours and ensure that you have achieved 15 hours. Alternately, this document may be included with your volunteer hours or your shadowing hours proof, which should be on facility letterhead in a sealed facility envelope. It's important to know that shadowing hours must be completed within a year of application deadline to be considered valid. So at this time that I'm speaking to you, our next application deadline is February 15th, 2019. That means for anybody submitting their application by this date for fall 2019 admissions would need to have completed their shadowing hours between February 15th, 2018 and February 15th, 2019. Finally, the last link on our web page that we have not yet talked about is our student handbook. Students receive the handbook yearly upon orientation after being admitted or accepted into program. These are pages from our student policy manual or student handbook. Now, you are ready for advisement. You may call 716-851-1318 to schedule an in-person or by phone appointment. Alternately, you may email ota@ecc.edu. The OTA department advises all students interested in the OTA program, whether you're actively in the program yet or not. So even if you're just interested in the program and you're not yet admitted, we would like to be the ones advising you for your preparatory college work to come into program. If you are seeking advisement on campus, please come see us in Kittinger Building, K122 on North Campus so that we can help you register for appropriate classes. We know what classes tend to work best for students if they're interested in online classes. We know that we typically recommend anatomy and physiology to be taken here at North Campus based on statistical data of the nursing program and their A2 entrance exam specific to anatomy and physiology content. We know what tends to work for our students. We know what ancillary courses to recommend. So we ask you to come and see us. Your formal academic advisor will be the department head or program director for the OTA program, and that's the person that you need to come and see. Right now, this is Evelyn Post-Dunn, and you can schedule an appointment with me in person or by phone through Susan Gilbreth. Again, that's through 716-851-1318 or ota@ecc.edu. When you are selecting a section to pick a course, there are some things that are important to ask yourself. 1, are you a morning person? If you are trying to take an 8 a.m. class and you know that that's going to be a routine struggle for you, that may not be the best choice. 2, do you think that an online course will be best for you? 3, talk to peers, talk to students on the campus, look at all your available information to select the right section and instructor for you. There's even a resource out there, www.ratemyprofessors.com, that gives you additional data and information when selecting a specific section of a course. So now that the OTA informational session has come to a close, you are ready for advisement, and we are excited to meet you.